staying in college football, Steve Sarkisian, the former USC coach, just got released or fired a few days ago on administrative leave. He was essentially fired the day after for issues related to alcohol. And it's just kind of unfortunate because, it's been something that's because he recently showed up to a practice inebriated, and it was really evident. And at the beginning of the season, they held like, most schools hold a pep rally to, and introduce the football team, the football program, or, and then the football players are there and everything. And he was there and he was giving a speech, and his speech was slurred. He was cursing and stuff like that. Like, and it was just evident that he was intoxicated. And, finally, after all this time, Pat Hayden and the athletic department of USC finally decided it was time to let him go. So, what do y'all think about his firing? Rashad, let me get your opinion first.
I mean, you do have to, get rid of somebody who's having, alcohol issues. Mm-hmm. So, because he's not setting a good example for his players and everything like that, showing up to events, intoxicated, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But also because, I mean, when you look at the USC tradition that's been there,
yeah,
it's always like a winning program. And, them not being where they normally are mm-hmm. kind of affects it too. Mm-hmm. But, him having alcohol problems is a big problem. But it's for a coach's job at USC is it's such high expectancy coming from that person. Mm-hmm. Like, you're expected to do so much, you expect to bring so much to this program mm-hmm. because of the legacy it had. Mm-hmm. And he didn't perform that either.
Yeah.
So, I mean, his fire was basically inevitable.
Yeah. All right. Kyler, what do you think about him being fired?
I do think when you come to some place intoxicated where you're trying to show an example and trying to be a leader, and you can't do those leadership roles. You're intoxicated. You're slurring your words, cursing. Mm-hmm. It's just not a good look. It's not a good look for the school. Not a good look for you as a coach. And I do understand them firing him.
Yeah,
he definitely deserved getting fired because you can't come to your place of work, a place with students and impressionable young adults.
Yeah.
Intoxicated mm-hmm. and expect to keep your job because it's just not etiquette.
Okay, so let me ask both y'all a question. How much culpability do y'all put on the shoulders of Pat Hayden, the athletic director who hired Steve Sarkisian, after knowing, after when you go for a job, everybody does a background check on you, especially mm-hmm. people that hire you. And and when Sarkisian worked at Washington as a coach, he wasn't publicly scrutinized for his alcohol issues, but there were reports about it. It wasn't as big as it has been at USC, since USC is, a platform, big platform for football. But USC for a while has been trying to keep this ever since Pete Carroll left in 2009. USC's been trying to keep this Pete Carroll olive branch, like all those who worked under Pete Carroll, like they've been trying to, like recently, like 2013 when they fired Lane Kiffin. He was a understudy of Pete Carroll. Same thing with Steve Sarkisian. So how much? And Pat Hayden was the one that fired Lane Kiffin. Granted, when they he wasted no time with it either. Like, he fired Lane Kiffin at an airport, getting off like the team plane. Mm. But how much culpability do you put on Pat Hayden, the athletic director, for hiring, Steve Sarkisian when he passed over at the time interim head coach Ed Orgeron, who had USC at 7-2 during his time standing in as head coach? What do you think of Pat Hayden's role in all this?
I think his mindset, bringing Sarkisian in was like, maybe he won't, maybe these things are like minor, since it wasn't as publicly scrutinized as, like you said. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's like, maybe these things are minor, maybe it's not really a big issue that we can work around this. Probably many coaches probably had a lot of alcoholic problems. Mm-hmm. It was like, maybe he thought that even him being here and maybe having a little bit of alcohol problems, maybe it will still work out for him. We can probably work with him because, Sarkisian, it was scheduled to be going to a out-of-state facility. He was going to spend there 30 days. Mm-hmm. So he was actually trying to work on his alcoholism.
Yeah.
So maybe they have faith that he wouldn't, you know, he wouldn't show up to, you know, such a big school, such a big name school, such that's in the media a lot. He wouldn't come to a school like this and, you know, present himself in a drunken manner.
Okay, Rashad, what do you think?
I mean, see, probably because the reason don't let him go earlier than what you did. I mean, you bring him in because you think maybe the alcohol problem is probably dying down.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you don't think it's as serious as it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you keep him for the whole season because he won a bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it elevated to a higher level than what people assume, what the outside director assumed it was going to be. Granted that even though he's winning, I don't know. Winning the bowl game is winning, but the record still isn't considered winning for me because the bowl they played in isn't a USC isn't a USC type bowl anyway. Mm-hmm. But they still won.
Like their last title was 2004.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? That's what, an 11-year drought. And
yeah.
I mean, 2005. Granted, they got there and were just a game away. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you haven't had them there for 11 years.
Yeah.
And last time that happened was under Pete Carroll.
So now you're playing all these under bowls now because you can't make it to the bowl that matters the most.
Yeah. So it's like what level? Like, because think about, like you said, he did win a bowl game. Uh-huh. So your resume is like
you're a winner.
Yeah.
You have a winning record. Yeah. You have a winning record in the NCAA, but losing 4 games is a losing record for USC.
All right, let me ask y'all a question real quick. So when he found out that Sarkisian was drunk at the pep rally earlier this season, should he have fired him? This was before the season started. It was right at the beginning. Should he have fired him then?
No, I say no because you see how some coaches be out and they be with the player athletes. Mm-hmm. How they be celebrating with them, you know, getting hyped with them, getting rowdy. Maybe he felt like this was his way. He thought maybe it was going to be something different than, you know, slurring his words, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And be like, okay, let's give him another chance. Mm-hmm. You know, he done a good job past season. Mm-hmm. He done an okay job past season. Mm-hmm. Let's give him another chance. See how he do now. Mm-hmm. But this season, it shows that it's not the decision they wanted to continue following.
Okay, Colin.
So I don't think they should have let him go.
Okay, so Colin, what do you Sorry for coming by the way.
No, you good.
Colin, what do you think? Do you think that they should have let him go initially at the start of the season when they found out he was inebriated during the opening press conference or opening day prep rally?
I do think they should have fired him because to even show up to a pep rally like that with like a lot of people watching, like the whole school, well, not the whole school, but the school's there. And, you know, a lot of students and stuff, and you're there slurring your words and cursing. Mm-hmm. They should have definitely let him go. And, like, I understand what Rashad is saying. It was like, okay, maybe we'll give him a second chance.
Benefit of the doubt.
Right. But come on, you coming to work like that. I understand it's a pep rally. People supposed to be excited.
It's a pep rally.
But
people
can't be that drunk you can't be drunk as a leader with a leadership role like that.
If the starting quarterback did it, does he get benched for the season?
Yeah.
No, because he's winning. Because it's starting quarterback. If he's doing what a lot of college students do.
Yeah, but he's not a college.
But I understand. He's not a college student.
You have to be a leader of the students.
But that's the same thing for a quarterback. He could be.
But he's a college student.
But if he came there drunk, slurring his words and stuff, they'd be like, "Let's go, we about to win this." Start cussing everything.
The coach has to discipline the quarterback. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? There's an example that the coach has to see. If the quarterback does it, the quarterback has somebody above him that's like, "Hey, you know, get right." The coach is one that benches him. Mm-hmm. If the coach is slurring his words and drunk at the pep rally, how are you going to tell the quarterback he's wrong for doing the same thing?
That's what I'm saying. You don't tell him he's wrong.
No,
but then he'll have
that's a sloppy team.
Yeah,
if you got people drunk and stuff like.
He's like, oh, you were drunk at the pep rally, so I can do it now.
It's a pep rally,
but he's a coach. I mean, you're still amongst the people. Like, remember, remember, these are still kids. Like, we're technically kids. We haven't even gone out into the outside world and worked in the workforce and stuff. So you're dealing with people's children. So imagine you're going out there and putting on display that you're drunk and stuff at a pep rally, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine how that affects your recruiting. Imagine if some top talent like sees a coach that's drunk cursing up there on the stage. You know what I'm saying? And his son is a top recruit, you know, and he's like, why would I invite you into my home when that's how I see you act around the kids? And you're apparently saying, not that he's saying that drinking and stuff is okay, but I see that you can't hold your liquor even in the public, like in an event as big as this one. You're putting the program on display. So you represent the program as a drunk, out there you're not representing the program in a great way. So it affects the program in a negative light, and it could deter players from wanting to come there. Yeah. And then you're setting an example for your own players, because then they're like, because imagine if this was a Florida State coach, right, that prohibited his players from going to the bar. Then you show up at the place drunk.
He's a hypocrite.
No, I'm just saying. Do you see how that can portray? If you have rules and stuff for your players, and then you are going behind and not following those rules. I mean, alcoholism is a problem. It's a sickness. It's not just I just want to drink. Like, people have issues. Like, there's problems with alcoholism. Like, it's not like
it's like an addiction to the point where they can get sick if they don't drink it.
Are we putting it more on him though, because he's had alcohol issues though?
What do you mean?
More so than if it was any other. Okay, so let's go back to the Florida incident. Remember the Florida incident with a sportsmanlike issue when it was nationally broadcasted? He was like cussing his player out. So it's kind of like faded away now. But if that coach had like an issue like the Rutgers coach, and then he went to Florida now, and then that happened, would it be more so on him because he previously done it? Is that why it's a bigger problem?
That's why I asked the question: how much culpability does Pat Hayden have? Because if you have a history of it, you know who you're bringing into your program, so you have to do your homework.
Yeah. So
you know what you're bringing in. I would say Sarkisian has some culpability in it, but Pat Hayden has some too, because you know what you're bringing into your program. So if you know a dude has a history of alcohol-related issues, maybe that's not publicly broadcast like the Rutgers coach or the Florida coach, but you still you go in depth and still do your research of who you're bringing in. You know what I'm saying? They have a lot of resources at their availability that us as the media might not have to know about these coaches when they bring them in. Yeah. So, but then we even find this stuff out after all this happened, that he had issues at Washington. So you know this stuff, and you still bring the guy in. I mean, granted, apparently they're friends, so some people could look at it as he's doing his friend a favor when other places might not have hired him. And then also because they're trying to keep the Pete Carroll family branch in there, or Pete Carroll's like underlings in there, kind of sort of thing. So it's like I put a lot of it on Pat Hayden, and then I wonder if do you think Pat Hayden should be included in the next coaching hirings, because he botched this one sort of.
But the coach still I don't want to say he botched it, because the coach still
they haven't won though.
They haven't won a national championship.
They watched the loss in Washington this past week, 17-12, and they were projected number 8. Yeah. And the AP rankings. Now they've fallen out of the rankings.
They have.
So but
it's hard when you're a team like that and you lose early, because you drop tremendously.
Remember how everybody was projecting them from the talent they had? Yeah. How well they're going to be, and then he's coming to practices drunk, and you hired this dude over Ed Orgeron, who had a 7-2 record at the time you hired him, and then he quit because he was like, you hired him over me, and I've led this team to 7 wins with only 2 losses. And you hired Steve Sarkisian over him. So it's like, and they're apparently friends, so it's like, was he really deserving of the job? You already had Ed there who was winning. Yeah. So you hired Steve over him. Look at I don't know.
It's looking bad on him.
Yeah, it don't look good on Pat, but staying in the realm of